If I ask you one simple question, what does coffee actually give? Most of you would answer without even wasting a second. The drive, the momentum to work flawlessly even after we're fully exhausted. But here's something completely different. Coffee doesn't give drive, not even for a second. Then why? Does one cup makes feel everything manageable, mornings feel easier and the hectic schedule seems easier and smoother to balance? The answer isn't in coffee, it's in your brain. And once you understand it, you'll know something far more important than coffee. So, hi everyone, Vanshika this side. Welcome to a space where your breaks are going to be meaningful. We take ordinary things and discover extraordinary lessons hidden beneath and them. Today, let's talk about one of the most consumed drink not only in India but across the world, coffee. And how is coffee connected to our lives? Strange? Yes, it is deeply connected. Let's know. People drink it before heading to their office, before any important meeting, or something which seems harder for them, but they wanna make it feel light. And we almost treat this like a switch, like a one sip would completely turn our mind from laziness to working flawlessly. But science tells a different story. From the moment you wake up, the brain starts accumulating a chemical called adenosine. It accumulates hour after hour from morning to noon to evening, and its only job is to tell you that you're awake from a while and it's time to take a rest. The longer you stay awake, the louder the signal becomes. Now, caffeine enters the story. The signal of adenosine is completely triggering us to take a rest, to wind down to sleep. But we have an important meeting, we need to do an important task, and we just can't take a rest or we can't sleep. So we head to taking caffeine. Caffeine doesn't actually destroy adenosine, but here's the fascinating part. Caffeine has the exactly same structure as of adenosine, so it binds over there with the receptor. It doesn't suddenly fills your mind with drive, but it inhibits the signal to being heard. The signal is still being continuously triggered, but only you can't hear it because caffeine is working over there to hide that potential. Now, the receptors which were supposed to receive the slow down signal are being occupied by the caffeine instead. The message hasn't disappeared, but just your mind is not able to hear it, your brain is not able to hear it now, and the silence of this signal feels like a renewed drive. That's why some people experience a sudden clash after the caffeine wears off. Now, the drive hasn't disappeared, but the signal has overcome. Since the receptors are now not engaged with caffeine because it has veered off, so now the signal of adenosine has come over to tell you that you tired, you need to take a rest. It has returned with the same triggerness. The drive didn't disappear, the signal didn't disappear, it was all about which voice was heard louder by your brain and which was silent. This single idea reaches far beyond a cup of coffee. How often do we think that I've lost my ambition, I've lost my old hobby, when it's buried under the expectations, exhaustions, and endless comparisons? We think we are not confident, but actually, the problem is the constant self doubt. The strongest version of ours is not always absent, it's hidden beneath comparisons, choices, and this is what a cup of coffee teaches us. The more I thought about coffee, the more I researched about it, I knew that it was never about caffeine. It was just about the noise, the voices which were heard by brain and which were not. Think about it. Adenosine never stopped existing. It was just blocked. Life works in a surprisingly similar way. Every day, Our mind is surrounded by several kinds of thoughts, several voices echoing over there, but some are just louder, which we assume that they are actually. For example, you are not better than others. You're failing. What if you are not able to do it? You are not just good enough. They do not arrive with any proof, but they arrive with volume. And that's where the game changes. Somewhere we believe that the voice which is the loudest is also the truest too. But it is not at all. Fear comes with loud noise. Self doubt comes with loud noise. Comparisons comes surprisingly in a very loud noise. But actually, truth comes quietly in silence. Your purpose doesn't suddenly leave. Your curiosity doesn't get vanish. They are slowly getting silent and then buried, like the adenosine was. But who will bring that back? The caffeine went to weird off, so the adenosine comes. So now, how will our purpose come back? Through caffeine? Absolutely not. Go back and remember the most meaningful decision of life you've ever taken up to yet. Was it taken in a chaotic room full of mess and noises? Or through a deep conversation, a walk, a conversation with yourself, your own self, a moment where everything becomes silent enough for you to listen your inner buried voice. That's why some people spend years searching for motivation when they genuinely wanted was a little less noise. The beans of coffee remind us that what changes us is often determined by what we choose to hear. Question has never been that which voice exists, because your mind is surrounded by several hundreds of questions every day, thoughts every day. It is that which voice gets your attention, because attention quietly builds your belief, belief builds up to action, action builds up to habit, and habits build your life. So, before asking how do I become a better person, ask a far more powerful question: which voice from the past yet up to I've been hearing? Reshaping first begins by lowering the volume of everything that was not meant to lead you in the first place. Coffee is just doing for what it was designed for. The mistake begins when we expected to do something it was never meant to do. Cup of coffee can, yes, help you stay alert, but it can never replace rest. It can't build discipline. Yes, it can delay the signal of tiredness, but it cannot remove the reason of your tiredness. Why you were tired in the first place can't be removed. It will return. And at this plot, it stops being about coffee and becomes more about us. Take that one imperfect step. Temporary solution feels satisfying, but lasting solution feels uncomfortable, which is modified by repeated choices and at the end leads to a satisfying result, a permanent satisfying result. Stop chasing the mutable ones. Feeling of drive and the source of drive are not in the same shoe. One disappears after hour and one grows every time you choose consistency over comfort. Real drive isn't something you drink, it's something you build, one at a time. So the next time you take a cup of coffee, don't just think about waking up. Think about what in my life am I fixing temporary when it needs to be permanent. I hope this changed the way you saw your cup of coffee, and not only your coffee but the life, the solutions. And to know more about such extraordinary lessons hidden in ordinary things, hit on the subscribe button. Take a break, stay curious.